Hello there people, my name is Show and welcome to another episode of Game Things. First up, we are talking about a game that is inching closer to its release date this year. It is Final Fantasy 16. It is said that the game will have some sort of a combat score. Unlike Devil May Cry-like graded score that is literally on your screen, it will be more subtle. According to the game director Hiroshi Takai, he wanted to make Final Fantasy 16 enjoyable for everyone. As for the hardcore player base who wanted to test their gamer skills, the game will feature a special unlockable mode called the Arcade Mode, featuring the in-the-face combat grading / scoring system that he believed the much competitive players will enjoy. The Arcade Mode, which will be accessible from a special in-game hub, can be unlocked after certain progression is reached through the protagonist Cleve's story. In the arcade mode, stages can be replayed and your performance will be ranked up against the other player all around the world on the leaderboard. Aside from the new game mode, we also have two gameplay videos which will be linked down below. There you can find combat gameplay of Akon, aka the summons in Final Fantasy 16 that will still require players control, and in this gameplay we get to see the player control Ifrit versus Garuda. On top of that, there is also another video on dungeon exploration and the boss fight gameplay. Most important of all, you have to know how you can get your hands on the game when it releases on June 22nd, 2023. Currently, we know that this will be a PlayStation exclusive at launch and there is a standard, deluxe, and collector's edition. The standard edition starts at $69.99 US, with the deluxe edition costs $30 more, and it comes with a cloth world map of Valistia and a steelbook. Final Fantasy 16 Collector's Edition is asking for a cool $350 US. Comes with the Ifrit statue, set of 8 pins, and an in-game item, Blade Sword, and also the cloth world map and the steelbook. There is also the Digital Deluxe Edition that comes with the digital version of the game, digital mini art book, and digital mini soundtrack, and it costs $89.99 at the PlayStation Store. Lastly, pre-ordering the game also gets you some bonus content, which includes the Braveheart Sword, Hit Sith Charm, and Scholar's Spectacles. And depending on which version of the game you pre-order, you might get it all or only 2 of them. Final note on the topic here. While it's true that Final Fantasy 16 is a 6 months exclusive on the PlayStation 5 platform, Naoki Yoshida, the producer of the game, have confirmed that the game won't be on PC right away after 6 months of PlayStation exclusivity periods end. Hence, for now, the only way to enjoy Final Fantasy 16 as early as June 22nd is to own a PS5. Since we are not getting the Final Fantasy 16 PC port anytime soon, how about a cup of tea with some Flash news? Probably one of the longest teased games since its first appearance in E3 of 2014. We have an official 40 minutes long extended gameplay revealed for Dead Island 2. Get to see some work in progress gameplay, some actions going, available weapons, skill cards, and many more. I'll be honest, I wasn't feeling too excited about the game before, but after watching this extended gameplay, I just hope that they can release the game without delaying it again so that we the players can finally experience the game firsthand. Dead Island 2 is expected to release next month on April 21st, 2023. And while the first Kerbal Space Program is a sandbox game loved by many, Kerbal Space Program 2 definitely had a rough start as we come to the second week of its early access release, mostly due to countless bugs and frame rate issues. Not surprising when you compare the player count of both games for the past week. Kerbal Space Program still has more concurrent player counts even with the sequel being released. Of course, it would be foolish not to fix the issues, and the developer of Kerbal Space Program 2 had reassured players that the game patches to fix the current known issues will be released in the coming weeks. Next, it is not everyday news about a 5-year-old game getting its game engine updated. The developer of Showdown, Crytek, is making it happen, with plans to update the game's years-old 5.6 version of Crytek engine to 5.11 in the coming future. Players can also expect better scripted and much detailed explanations throughout the tutorial. Now I know, it might not sound too big of a deal when there is only a few decimal increment in the game engine version, but I guess the fact that changes and updates on everything about the game is still to be expected for a game released back in 2018 really shows Crytek's commitment to keep the game alive. And all that just left me with the question, how on earth have I not played this game, despite countless of hours watching gameplays, let it be live streams or YouTube. If you want to own some kits in Battle Royale, Population 1, a VR shooter Battle Royale, will turn free to play by the time you see this video out. It was previously acquired by Meta in 2021, and of course, you will need a VR headset to play this game. Only players who have previously owned the game and logged in before March 9, 1 PM Eastern Time will be eligible for a bundle of in-game items. I can't say that I'm a huge fan of the graphics, but if you do own a VR headset, I think it is worth a try, considering there just isn't much VR games out there, comparatively to the other platforms like consoles and PC. Now, this is an interesting one that you might want to give it a try. Finals is a 3 vs 3 multiplayer PvP shooter with an almost unique gameplay of its own. There are objectives in every match, and the biggest selling point of this game is definitely the fact that you will take at least a full 3 seconds of shooting before you can be down. It is crazy. If you have been a fan of shooter games and you have friends to play with, be sure to request for access to join the closed beta on Steam, which is now live until 21st of March 2023. We are now 3 months in the year of 2023, and Lince, the developer and publisher of the Aragami franchise, had announced its closure of its Barcelona-based studio, which will happen next month. After 9 years of running in the game industry, all in-development projects will of course be ceased, and Lince Studio ultimately puts the blame on the difficult economic outlook of the company. Fortunately, Aragami and Aragami 2 will remain available across all platforms and storefronts, and online co-op will still be accessible. Moving on, the game Sifu is finally coming to Steam on 28th of March 2023, with its Arena Mode expansion arriving on the same day. 9 new locations in Arena Mode, 45 merciless challenges spread across the 5 game modes, namely Capture Mode, that requires you to take and hold a marked zone, Survival Mode that tests how long you can stand up against the wave-based challenge, Manhunt Mode where you have to be precise and quick with your action to make your way to the target, Time Attack, and Performance Mode that chase after perfecting your skills to hit the highest possible score, all landing on the available platforms, which includes the PlayStation 4 and 5, Xbox Series X and Series S, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, and PC. Before we move on to the next section, I just want to mention a few of these quickly. One of the known franchise, The Wolf Among Us by Telltale Games, will have its sequel, The Wolf Among Us, delayed until 2024 as the game moves its development into Unreal Engine 5. Then, to those who wish for a new entry into the Persona franchise, just know that it is unlikely to happen this year, as Persona 6 has been delayed internally, according to the user Amahiro 2, who have shared Persona 6 development in the past from the Reset Era forum. Counter-Strike 2 seems to be just around the corner, and if proven to be true, this, in my opinion, might just be one of the better kept game in development in recent years. Anyways, links down below on the articles and sources if that piqued your interest. Lastly, Hogwarts Legacy for previous gen consoles, aka the PS4 and Xbox One, is once again being delayed and will now release on May 5th, 2023, according to this official tweet. And now comes the game releases of this week. While not a standalone game, Dead Cells Return to Castlevania as the DLC for the base game Dead Cells, released on 6th of March 2023 on the PlayStation 4 and 5, Xbox Series X and Series S, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, and PC. If you plan on getting it on PC, the base game is currently being discounted on Steam, and the offer will last until 14 or 13 of March 2023, depending on your region. Up next, Fatal Frame Mask of the Lunar Eclipse is a much anticipated one to those who love the Japanese survivor horror genre. This is technically not a new game, as the original release of the game can be traced back to 2008, which was the 4th entry into the Fatal Frame series. This remastered version of the game is going to bring upgraded graphics with modern game engine. Fatal Frame Mask of the Lunar Eclipse is made available on March 9, 2023, released on the PlayStation 4 and 5, Xbox Series X and Series S, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, and PC. Then we have this game called Oni, Road to the Mightiest Oni, which is a 3D action exploration anime style game in which the gameplay reminds me of the traditional RPGs, embarking on a journey, questing, solving mysteries, and many more. If you're in search of a new RPG game to play, this might be worth trying out. Also, I'm just saying this before the actual release of the game, so make your purchase with informed decisions. Oni Road to the Mightiest Oni is made available on March 9, 2023 for the PlayStation 4 and 5, Xbox Series X and Series S, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, and PC. Last on the list, Before Your Eyes is a first-person, emotional, narrative, story-rich indie game, in which the interesting part is that you as the player would dictate how the story goes, affecting the outcome. This game is not new, released in 2021, however it is made available on the PSVR 2 on March 9, 2023, and playing it on a VR headset might just give you a whole new memorable experience of the game. On the Epic Game Store this week, All of the Sea is for those who enjoys the casual single-player exploration experience, which also commonly comes with the puzzle element, backed by the story of Nora, across the ocean, following the trails of a missing husband, encountering unfamiliar, forgotten, and nameless places. The game will be free to claim by the time this video is out and will be yours as long as you claim it by or before 17th of March 2023. And that marks the end of this week's episode of Game Things. Consider giving this video a like, subscribe, and hit the bell so that you will be notified as early as possible on any video uploads that happens on this channel. And if you are the kind of person who likes to think about the what ifs in this world, here's a short clip on how the early Doom 2016 or Doom 4 looks like from a 2012 Christmas presentation by the developer ID Software.